All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, DL Discipline. My co-host could not join me. I don't know what the time frame is going to be. As you guys already know, because Sujey said this several times on air, her mom has cancer. It has taken a toll for the worse. Our prayers are with her. So, it's a mutual thing. It's not fair to have her come on, especially if she's not going to be in the right frame of mind. So like I always do, because y'all are used to me doing this, especially if y'all subscribe to Patreon, Discipline Therapy Talk. All right, but we're going to get it started. Y'all know y'all fiends. Because y'all coming back for your dose weekly of discipline therapy, where not everything is completely free, because we're on Patreon for a plethora of exclusive content for you to see. But what is free is this judgment-free, sucker-free, censor-free, sensitive-free, and some liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, and my favorite, roll a blunt, but make sure the children are in bed. Why? Because we have that soul food and sometimes vulgar conversation. Prepare your mind to be fed. Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm here with you. All right, so shout out to Joe in Center Stage Music Studio, Belmore, New York. Also, don't forget the annual USO show taking place August 24th, Bartini's. Joe will be there. They always sponsor us every year. It's in Babylon, Long Island, New York. All the veterans come by. They have raffles, music, food, etc. It's always a great time every August. All right. Also, shout out to the e-commerce store online, disciplinetherapy.launchcart.store/shop. As you could see, got the joggers on, Dose Weekly. See that? Discipline Therapy. Right. We got a whole bunch of things. I mean, this is like made out of like viscose, which is like the same material they use in silk. Fire. All right. All the links are in the description to become a Patreon subscriber. Online store, also consultations, life, relationship, spiritual coaching, one-on-one, men and women. I do different ages as well, group sessions, family, couples, etc. All right, so today's topic, first season 15, episode 156. Today's topic is, how do you get a man to provide for a woman? How to get a woman to submit to a man. I have a special returning guest, Sarah. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So, you know how we do here, right? Because you've been here prior. So, the topic, do you like me to reiterate or you got it?
I got it.
All right, great. So, I'm going to ask you some questions and you just give your perspective. So, what we're going to do is usually we do a panel discussion. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get your perspective. And then once you're finished, final thoughts, and I'm just going to run through it myself.
Okay.
All right. So first on the board, I have, what does provision mean to you?
So for me specifically, I like a man who gives me a safe space. So that means it's a safe space for me to be myself. And then also providing things for the household. So we're a teammate, right? We're teammates. Mm-hmm. So you're going to provide and also provide for me mentally and spiritually. And so to me, that's what provision means. I do think provision is relative to every female. So it could be different for every other female.
So it's subjective, yeah. Okay. What does submission mean to you or for you?
I think it's the reciprocal of that. So I'm going to do the same thing for my man, right? So that means that I'm going to provide for him a safe space mentally, spiritually, and in the event that his finances take a turn, I'm also going to provide that way.
Okay, great. What type of men provide?
To be honest with you, I think it's the alpha male that provide. I think it's the alpha males that understand teammates, that understand the traditional family values. That's, at least in my experience, what I've come across. That's who I think provides.
What type of women submit?
Basically, the reciprocal of that as well. So it's going to also be women who understand teammates and understand family values that are going to submit and understand that they have to provide, the feminine side of that.
Okay. Do you believe a woman can inspire a man to provide and protect, even if he never did that prior to her?
I think she can, only if he's at a space to understand the type of female that's in front of him. Because some men can have a good woman in front of them, and maybe they're not in that space yet to understand her value. So it can only come if that man is understanding of the value of the woman that he has in front of him.
Okay. Do you believe a man can inspire a woman to submit, even if she never did that prior to him?
Yes, in the same sense that she would also have to understand the value of the man that she has in front of him. I think a lot of times we as humans are looking at things through different colored lenses because we're not seeing things from a clear perspective. And so it's really up to us. Like, are we understanding the value of the person in front of us? That's really what's going to determine whether or not they can inspire that.
Okay. Does society shame men more for being strong and masculine or weak?
In today's society, I think that they're shamed more for being strong and masculine. There's this whole term called toxic masculinity going around. And so I feel like men are shamed more for being actual masculine men versus weak men. It's a very kind of unfortunate state of affairs, but that's where we're at nowadays.
So they're shaming more for being strong and masculine.
Yes.
Why?
I think that there's been a breakdown in the traditional family values. And so now men are like, if you notice now, men nowadays tend to be petty, and petty is a female trait, right? So I feel like it's basically a consequence of the breakdown of the traditional family values. And that, I think that's happening on a greater sense for reasons maybe we don't even understand, but it's happening. It's basically being pushed down through like every sense in our lives, like through education, through professionalism, all of that. So it's basically, to me, it's just because it's a breakdown of the family values, but it's being designed that way.
Okay. What constitutes a weak man versus a strong man?
I think a strong man can communicate, and he's humble. So he's masculine, obviously, but he has humility, and he's able to communicate. And communicate is more than just talking; it's also listening. So, in my opinion, that's a strong man that has those qualities.
Okay. So does society shame women for being strong, independent, boss babe, or inferior and dependent upon something or someone?
I think women are shamed for being independent or inferior. They're kind of looked at as like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you go get it? Kind of thing. Right now, the way everything is based in society, that's my belief, that they're shamed for being dependent.
Dependent, okay. So why do you believe that?
Just because I feel like right now society is so it's so driven by like get out and make some money, get out and do this, go, you got to have things, you have to have things to show for your money. And so it's pushed even on females, right? So if a female doesn't have any of that and she's dependent on someone else to get it, like let's say she's 100% a full-time housewife, she's shamed because you're like, oh, well, what about when your husband leaves you? You're not going to have anything, like you don't have anything. So she's shamed, which that could not necessarily be the case. She could have everything, and her husband could be the type that's like, no, what's mine is hers. But that's not how society is going to look at it.
Who's doing that more? Because you said she's being shamed. Oh, not verbatim, but I'm gonna summarize. You need an exit strategy. You need your own. Who's doing that more? Is it society as a whole, men and women, or is it one gender specifically?
To be honest with you, I think it's more women. I think it's more women that have been scorned, and it's kind of like, even if you look at them in the media, like movies and shows and things like that, TV shows and movies, they kind of always portray like the woman that gets left with nothing, right? Like, oh my God, she was married 20 years and got a divorce, and she doesn't have any skills, any life skills or professional skills. And so it's like the media is shaming her, and then also too, her peers are shaming her, like, well, how come you didn't think about yourself? Why didn't you go do this? Or what? You know what I mean? So it's a shame on both ends, but I really believe that it's heavier on the female side than it is on the male side, because I've never come across a male who said, I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist, they do exist, but it's never a big deal for a man to meet a woman that knows how to make a house and, create a family and make a house, a home, versus her having all her money, you know what I mean? Money and cars and things that other people would consider wealth.
The reason that is because back in the day they didn't even thought of divorce.
Right.
That's why.
Exactly.
Does a woman have to be a feminist, a masculine, a boss babe, or a bitch to be considered strong?
I think she should be a mix between a feminist and a boss babe. But then that term feminist is kind of, I don't know, it could be depending on how you look at it. Because some feminists now are like, they hate men, and I don't believe that's a true feminist. You know what I mean? I think you need to be feminine and still be a boss babe, but not necessarily a feminist.
So you said you kind of need to be a feminist and a boss babe.
Yes.
So what you're talking about is modern feminists.
Not modern feminists.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean. I mean like feminine. You need to be in your feminine energy, your feminine power, and still kind of be a boss to be a strong woman.
Okay. Makes sense. Are modern women's dating standards too high, or men are simply lazy?
So I think the key word there is modern. I think modern women's dating standards are way too high. I think modern women's dating, they feel entitled. Like, modern women are so entitled now. There's all these lists going around on social media, like, in order for a man to take me out, he has to get my hair done and my nails done, pay for a babysitter, and take me to certain restaurants, Cheesecake Factories out kind of stuff. And so modern women's dating standards are just, to me, they're obnoxious. They don't make any sense. They're super entitled, and it's like, entitled to what? This man doesn't owe you anything. You know what I mean? He's asking you out on a date, accept the date or don't, but don't feel entitled to, you need a certain amount of money before you even say yes to a date. You know what I mean?
Is there a sexist gender wage gap, or women are just lazy?
I think it depends on the profession. I mean, I think that, there's some professions that are traditionally male, and then there's some professions that are traditionally female. And if you look at like the pay in that sense, then, I mean, yeah, they're going to get paid less, but it's because they're being paid on the type of work, right? Men's work tend to be harder. There's more risk, things like that. It's more difficult work. So the pay is higher, but that's just in those types of roles. But if you're taking, like, let's say a nurse, which can be male or female, or a doctor that could be male or female, lawyer, whatever, I don't think that there's a paid wage gap necessarily.
So so you don't think it's a sexist wage gap?
No.
And you don't think women are just lazy?
No, I don't think women I don't think women are lazy. I think women, it just kind of depends on the woman. There's some women who just want to be taken care of, and they feel that because they're a female, they're a woman, they deserve that. And then there's women who, are going to go out and seek their whatever profession they makes them happy, and whatever profession that they're is going to provide for themselves, and then they take it from there. It just really depends on the woman. I mean, I've seen it all, like all across the board. So
Okay. What does it mean to you when a woman says, "I don't need I need a man to handle me"?
that is kind of tough, because I think that depends on who's saying it. Like, if the woman is not healed, if she's not a healed woman and she's not in the frame of mind of being able to be part of a team, then I think that's a huge red flag. That she's just like, okay, you need to put up with whatever I give you. Versus a woman who is healed and saying that you need to handle me. I believe that if a healed woman is saying that, then she's coming from a sense of like, look, there's going to be times when I need to be checked because I'm doing something wrong, and there's going to be times when I need to be acknowledged for the right things that I'm doing. Right? So it just really is going to depend on what space that female is in.
Okay, I disagree. I don't believe it's good whether they're healed or aren't healed. Like, you gave two different perspectives of a healed woman saying it and a unhealed woman saying it. I just think that phrase is toxic. So I think
Yeah.
I think if the healed person, healed woman is saying it, she's toxic. Because yeah, word choice is big, but the woman's not, if she's healed, she's not going to have to tell the man, well, you need to hold me accountable because sometimes I get off the path. She's not healed. That's just my
What?
perspective.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I see your point. I 100% to your point, because you're right. A healed woman wouldn't actually use that phrase. You need to handle me.
Are there natural universal roles for men and women? For example, provide and protect, nurture, caregiver.
I believe that there are. I mean, men are physically stronger than women, and then women tend to they're more emotional. That's just across the board. So I do believe in traditional roles like that. I do believe, just like even in the days of the cavemen, the men went out and hunted, and then they brought the food back, and the woman cooked it. You know what I mean? That's just how it went. So I do believe that 100%.
All right, part two. Why are we fighting nature in today's era?
That goes back to the breakdown of the traditional family values. So society lately has been pushing like this huge LGBTQ thing on us. You have transgenders who, like, they're men transitioning to women who only want to be known as women, or vice versa. And it's like, it's just this crazy breakdown, and that's not natural at 100%. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm a transgender. That's fine, be a transgender. But to present yourself as the opposite gender just because that's how you feel, and then now we're shamed for not going along with it, that's a crazy breakdown in nature, because nature didn't make that person a man or a woman. Nature made them what nature made them, right? So I just feel like, for whatever reason, the powers that be are pushing this huge breakdown in the traditional family values, because men and women are yin and yang. We complement each other, right? And when you have this breakdown in that, everything's kind of going awry, which is what we're seeing right now. And it's very, very unfortunate. It's super confusing to children, and then it's really being pushed on every angle, and it's kind of crazy what's happening, you know what I mean? But that's today's society.
I concur. You're getting into the last question and then final thoughts. So, due to society transitioning into more of an inclusive society, we tend to be a bit more sensitive to this question I'm going to ask. And we don't ask it as much as we did in the past. However, I'm going to ask it. You ready?
Yes.
2 questions. 1, what is a man in your perspective?
A man to me is a natural born male, so that he was naturally born a male, and he lives in his masculinity, which means that he lives in his ability to be a man, to be able to be a provider and a protector for his family. And that, I believe that's 100% a man.
What is a woman?
A woman is a natural born female. She lives in her feminine energy, and she lives in her ability to be, I wouldn't say a secondary role to a man, but it's like we're a complementary role to the man, right? So you're going to live in that. It doesn't mean that you're not also going to be able to do what you have to do as an individual, but it does mean that you understand your role as a complementary person to your man. And so I believe that that's what a woman is.
Great answers. Any final thoughts? Yeah, I'm not gonna ask if you want to review the show, cause you like it, you like us. So
Right,
any final thoughts or food for thought?
I really just think that it would be nice to see society shift back to a traditional male female as companion type of a society. You know what I mean? I really don't understand the push that's happening and why it's so pervasive and what is going on. You know what I mean? I'm grateful that I know this is going to sound bad, but I'm grateful that I don't have small children that are in school, because their teachers would probably hate me. But to me, it's a very sad state of affairs, and I wish we could go back to the very traditional roles of male and female. And I appreciate people like you who have podcasts like this, so that way, we could reach like-minded people.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We probably won't get to those times again, because there's an agenda,
Yeah.
and the agenda has a bigger picture at the end. So this is why you see a lot of the toxic shit that won't be shadow banned. It's pushed in our face like we're being spoon fed metaphorically, versus the healthy stuff, which is
Right.
more traditional. It has a
That's
lot to do
unfortunate.
with control of population control and etc. And that's just my conspiracy mindset. I'll leave that for Patreon. I won't do it on YouTube. But it's bigger than what we actually see in front of us or are hearing. There's a lot of things going behind the scenes.
Right.
All right.
I agree.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you once again. And I appreciate your perspectives and your answers. I didn't agree with some of them. When you see this come back, you're going to hear my perspective. It's going to get a little intense. But yeah, once again, appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Have a good night.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
All right. So, just like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to get a little intense. I don't really shy away from these type of conversations. I thrive off of them. I love them. It's needed. It's needed, and there's a goal for me too. Why this started. It has nothing to do with clout. That's a bonus. It has nothing to do with money. That's a bonus. But there's an agenda here. So I'm gonna run through the bullets. It's my turn. Let's go. What is provision? Which is another term for providing. What does it mean to you? What is it to you? So most people associate providing with a financial aspect. However, a man providing for a woman doesn't have to be anything financial based. It can be providing her a safe emotional space to be vulnerable, to share even kinks, fetishes with you without the fear of resentment or judgment. It's providing her a psychological space. When it pertains to pressure, women tend to get more overwhelmed than men, providing her a psychological space. Now, providing also can entail protection, because you're providing that. But when we look at the term protection, we tend to associate that with something physical. However, just the man's presence can be protection. For example, back in the days, I'll give you my experience when my sister was buying a car and my dad couldn't be there. So the things that he taught me, I retained and I went with her. And the salesman could not pull the wool over her eyes. He could not bamboozle her because I knew about Carfax. I knew about the differences of, okay, if you're going to get a used vehicle, these are the things you need to check. Most women don't know about cars. I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them don't. You're going to have to learn that from a man. We tend to see more male mechanics than female mechanics. So that's one example. Protection could be with you walking with your lady. A guy 100% of the time will try to always take advantage of a woman. We talk about the salesman. We talk about mechanics. If a woman doesn't know about certain jobs, well, why are you trying to get her to change the brakes? You said there's 70% left. That's like a good 9 months. Maybe the whole year she could go without it. Why are you trying to get her to turn the brakes? She won't know that. The presence of the man, what he's known analytically, understanding, like if he's walking with his lady and you might have a guy who wants to try something, just his presence alone lets him know, nigga, don't try shit. And he don't need to articulate that. The way he's holding her hand, the way he looks, perhaps, that presence alone is protection. These are the things that we don't talk about as a society. We always associate protection with the physical aspect. But just the man protecting the woman and all of these things is what he's providing as well. What does submission mean to you? A lot of things. This is my this is my cup of tea. It means a lot of things. Now, if you look at the term submission, it means to yield to a higher authority. That's what Google says. But when you look at the term submission in a relationship, it means femininity. It means you're bringing peace. It means you're supportive. It means you're collaborative. It means that when he comes home and you see that he's flustered or whatnot, you can read, because part of the woman's power is intuition. So she could tell what's going on with him before he opens his mouth. She knows how to help him unwind. Maybe he needs some time he just came off work. Let me not just bombard him with how my day was or what I need or the attention I need. You know, let him get some time and give him his space. Maybe he'll come to me. Or I got dinner on the table. Oh, maybe he needs a massage. Make certain requests. That's what submission means to me. It means loyal. It means fidelity. Fidelity. When she loves a man, she don't got eyes for nobody else. They could be walking down the street and a guy could have his shirt off. Her eyes ain't wondering. It means fidelity. And these are just subjective. These are subjective questions. It means femininity. It means intuition, like I said. It means dependent upon. What type of men provide? Traditional men, point blank. Not gonna say this alpha, something like that, because there's modern guys who think they're alpha today. Traditional men, that's what it comes down to. They provide and protect. Today, modern men look at provide and protect as something that they don't even approach like that first. They think, okay, she has to bring this to the table first for me to do that. But if they choose right, if they vet right, then they could give their all there. Not, well, if she's gonna do this, you should be able to see that she's a hoe from the beginning. Because even if she ain't telling you about her body count, her character shows you that she's a hoe or she's kind of icky. You should be able to turn your intuition up as a man and see that, I'm not going to entertain that. I ain't going to walk up to her. I could kind of feel feminist energies, feminist vibes already. The man should be able to use proper discernment so he can provide. So the man is supposed to approach like a man and provide right off the bat. Right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Because he vet properly. Not, well, let me see if she gonna be submissive first. That's a beta mentality. Because if the man's gonna be the leader, he's already setting the tone and the standard from the beginning. And automatically the woman's gonna follow, because people follow leaders. They don't follow followers. So what type of men provide? Traditional guys. Same thing. What type of women submit? Traditional women. Because when we say the term traditional women, it's everything that's coming with that. It's submission, it's femininity, it's intuition. They're eating right. They're doing yoga. When they're mad at their husband, they clean the whole house. They don't go seek out revenge. They don't go cheat. They don't go post their booty online to seek attention and validation because they ain't getting that in their relationship. That's the traditional woman. So what type of women submit? Traditional women submit. Do you believe a woman can inspire a man to provide and protect even if he never did that prior to her? I disagree with the caller. No, she cannot. Because this is something that's natural. It's nature. And that's what is synonymous with innate. It's nature. So by nature, the man is going to want to provide and protect if he's pursuing that woman, courting her, and especially when love is involved, because that's part of a man's love language. When he loves you, he's going to provide and protect. Easy, even when he's upset. So do you believe a woman can inspire that? No, she can't. A feminine woman cannot make a feminine man be dominant and traditional. A traditional woman cannot make a modern man transition. He's stuck in his ways. The woman is not a leader. That's what it comes down to. And men are hardwired a certain way. So even if they lie to you, yeah, baby, I'll never cheat again. Yeah, baby, I'll never do this. They're just going to say that to shut you up. But they know damn well they don't respect female authority. They know that for a fact. So the woman is wasting her time trying to see if she could get the man. Oh, baby, be the manager. I'm a manager. Why are you still the sales associate? Let's be the manager and build together. You ain't gonna get him to do that, because if he don't want to do that for himself, it ain't gonna be a baby. It ain't gonna be a ring where he's gonna think, well, I gotta provide for two human beings now. That's not gonna make him want to step up. If he don't have this innate that he want to step up already, that he could see the benefit of him stepping up, it's not specifically just her doing that. He sees a benefit with himself. It ain't never gonna work. She's like a fucking owner and the Rottweiler. She has the leash on the Rottweiler, and the Rottweiler's untrained, and he's pulling, and her arms are getting tired, her shoulders are hurting, because she's just trying to get him to do what she want to do. It's not going to work. So the traditional woman has to find the traditional man. That's just how it works. It's yin and yang. Opposites attract. The feminine woman cannot get with the feminine man, which is fucking up polarity, and make him transition. It's not fathomably possible. Unless she's masculine. And then she's comfortable being a leader. But the feminine woman is not comfortable being a leader. So that's the only way it works. But then polarity is intact because she's masculine and he's feminine. Yeah, they will attract each other, but it's not sustainable. Because eventually it's the woman that's going to complain. He's not, because he's going with the flow. He's not. It's the woman that's going to complain because eventually she's going to want to get into her nature. So she's going to tell you shit like, well, why won't you be the manager? Well, why won't you do this? Why always pick where we're going to eat? Well, why won't you be a man? It's always going to be the woman that's going to end up complaining because he's having his cake and eating it too. And you paying all the bills too. Shit, she going to do it. I'm just going to let her do it. That's the beta. That's the feminine guy. So he ain't going to change. He's just, she's enabling him. It's just like any kid. They're just going to keep going with the pattern and the routine. That's why that's not going to work, because eventually the woman's going to want to be in her nature. Do you believe let me see. Do you believe a man can inspire a woman to submit even if she's never did prior to him? Yeah. And this comes with the difference of male and female nature of men being born natural leaders. Because even if he's unfamiliar with these terms, he's unaware of these terms, there are certain things about him that can make the woman submit. His character. This is the stuff that I wanted to talk about. His character. Because at the end of the day, you have different types of women. Submission is not universal. So the woman could see a man who might be great at sex. She might have saw his dick. Pause. He probably knows how to use that. That might make her submit. She might see he has a lot of money. His status, his economic status, his financial status. So she might submit there. Hey, I'm having this yacht party or whatever it is. Whatever it is, material, opportunist, hypergamous, it doesn't matter. Either one of these women can submit, but that doesn't mean that's gonna remain consistent. What's gonna allow her submission to thrive and the consistency of it is gonna be his character. So even if he's, like I reiterate, unaware of these terms, his character, his values, his morals, maybe he has a code himself, no snitching. I'm not stabbing people in the back to get into the top to in a job. I have integrity. I protect my family. I'm family oriented. I'm not sleeping with the neighbor's wife, the next door neighbor's wife, or my brother's wife, even though they're flirting with me and coming on to me, because I have certain integrity and values within myself. I'm a man of my word. I'm consistent. I say I'm going to do something. I do it. I'll be there at 7 o'clock. I'm there at 6:55, 6:58. He says he's going to do what he does. That's what allows her submission to thrive and remain consistent. The yacht party guy, the guy with the most money, whatever, sex and all that, height, six-pack, whatever superficial things modern people want to talk about today that we can't take to the grave, is not going to allow her submission to remain consistent there. Because I've seen a lot of bozos with money get cheated on and played. So money won't keep her loyal. Definitely not. Does society shame men more for being strong and masculine or weak, and why? Society shames men for being weak. I know it's surprising that I picked that one because of where we are today. The landscape has changed. But I believe weak because everybody will fucking shame a weak guy. Men and women. And they don't have to put a term to it. They don't have to put a term to it. Everybody will shame a man weak, whether it's in the job, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's society. Oh, she cheated on him. Must have not been something he was not doing. They're not looking at the woman. Oh, he's weak, probably. The man is getting shamed for his weakness. And this also goes back to nature subconsciously, because even if we are transitioning more into a modern society, our ancestry, and just by nature, like certain things are just universal or by nature. We don't hear about women protecting men. We hear about men protect women. It's easy. We don't often hear about women dominating men in bed. We hear men dominate women in bed. 98% of women are submissive sexually. That's a fact. You could look it up. So there's certain things that are universal that we don't talk about. No matter what the fucking music is doing, television shows, non-binary, no matter what is going on, we still go back to nature. So by nature, society's shaming a weak guy. And that's why. What constitutes a weak man versus a strong man? Well, a strong man is emotionally intelligent. A strong man operates on logic, not emotions. A strong man is steadfast on his beliefs, no matter the pushback he's going to get from followers he's leading, from society, from feminists, female feminists, male feminists, family, whatever. That's a strong man. It's not just a physical aspect. He's strong mentally. He's strong emotionally. He has self-control, self-discipline. He's not weak to the pussy. So he could walk into a bar full of naked women. He's walking straight to the bar and ordering his drinks. Strong man. Because he's not weak to his emotions. That if he wants to engage, it's because he wants to, not because he couldn't control himself. That's a strong man. A weak man is what constitutes that? The fact that he is a snitch, probably. He doesn't have a code, no type of code at all. So women, sex, people will influence him. He's not an independent thinker. He operates on emotions like the woman. Like the woman. He crumbles under pressure. He don't thrive under that. He don't thrive under that. That's what builds a strong man. His adversity that he prevails from. That's what builds him. The weak man, it's Monday again. The weekend's over. Gotta work again Monday. Do overtime. That's the weak guy. Operate just like a woman. That's what constitutes a weak man. Not taking care of his children. And these are still my perspectives. That's your own seed. But because you are in your emotions, you have a problem with the mother because still you're not taking accountability of the woman you chose to lay with and have a kid with. So you let that affect how you going to take care of your kids. You are not taking accountability and you are saying, well, I ain't financially there. You don't want to get 2-3 jobs, be an Uber, make your own time because you got your pride. Right? You don't want to be the cashier at the grocery store as a second job because you got your pride. Money's money. Whether you're the CEO of the boardroom or you're picking up trash off the street. Money's money. And a real man's going to do that to his best ability. 100%. He going to put 100% in that. Even if he's picking up shit off the street. Cleaning toilets. So that's what constitutes a weak man. Is beta, is feminine energy. Feminine energy. Does society shame women for being strong, independent, boss, babe, or inferior, dependent upon something or someone, and why? Society shames the woman for being inferior, dependent upon something or someone, because where the landscape is now, that's why. That's why. Because nowadays, women are more empowered than ever. That's why. Because nowadays, women can go into the workforce, and now, I'm getting into one of the bullets, they now split it. So back in the days, you gave a college degree, you could make 80,000 right off the bat. You can make 100. Now women are coming in, they're like, whoa, you ain't make 100 anymore. You gotta make 50. Because now we gotta give 50,000 to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's the music, it's the television shows, it's CIA, it's the society, it's the economy, it's dating apps, it's social media now, it's the environment, the role models. And women have the worst role models today. What is a sexy red? What is a sexy red? What is that? Is that like a vase or something? What the fuck is that? What is a Cardi B? What is a Cardi B? This is the role models we have for the young women looking up. This is what they consider like black leaders. Those are not black leaders. Those are not Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. Those are not black leaders that these women need to look up to. Single parent households, specifically the mom. People are afraid to say, but we gotta say this because the community is not educated. That's another major component. The lack of education of knowledge of self. We are gods and goddesses with amnesia. We need to remember that. Then we dive into our power. They want us to not remember that because they don't want us to be powerful. They want us to be powerless to be able to control us. And the number one thing of being powerless is your mind. Because these influencers now create thoughts, and then thoughts translate into actions. So that's why you see all these girls twerking and whatnot, because they see these successful women or whatever it is, Beyonce's back in the day, all the single ladies, independent, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, they go home to their husbands and they're fucking sweeping. The man ain't never pick up a broom. Oh, I don't cook, I don't clean, look how I got this ring. They cooking. The man ain't never cooked, stepped into the kitchen or was on the stove. Y'all falling for the gimmicks and the propaganda. This is the lack of education that I'm talking about. That's why. What constitutes a strong, independent boss babe? It's subjective. It's subjective. I don't think a man came up with that. And if he did, he's a beta male mangina. Beta male mangina. If he came up with that, super male feminist. Kind of like the happy wife, happy life. That was created by a man, that phrase. Super male feminist. But I believe a woman came up with this phrase, strong, independent boss babe. What constitutes that? Number one, money, accolades, their status in society. That's what they believe constitutes that. But men don't constitute that as strong and independent. Because at the end of the day, that woman who's strong and independent, and she could have got that position in so many different ways. Fucked for money. A basketball player gave her fucking $500,000. So now she built her business with that. Did the easy thing, the OnlyFans, because you're already viewed as a sexual object, so that's easy. That's like me being a fucking drug dealer and saying, that's the best you could do? That's the best you could do. All this talent you probably have, that's the best you could do? So is that the best y'all could do, ladies? Taking the easy right out. We don't know. She was on her knees, and maybe that's why she got to that CEO position, that corporate job. We don't know how they got there, but most likely they always associate that with accolades and finances, because at the end of the day, it takes the 1% of the real hustlers to lose it all and then build something from nothing. Yeah. When you ain't making that goal for the month, entrepreneurship, that goal for the month, you ain't crying, you figuring it out. Yeah, that's a real boss. That's a real boss. Empowering other people. That's a real boss. How many employees have you hired? You've changed lives? No, the OnlyFans is not a boss. The woman who fucked for money ain't a boss. The social media model, whatever it is, they ain't a boss. You got your body done, and that's how you make money. You ain't use your brain. You ain't use your brain. So if I took your brain and put that into like a male body, you'd be fucked. You would be fucked. Does a woman have to be a feminist, a masculine, a boss babe, or a bitch to be considered strong? 100% not. That's not strength. And this is also subjective, because you could have the women, the modern women that say yes. You could have the traditional women that say no. And you could have all the guys, whether they're modern or traditional, that say no. That's not why I'm going to value the woman. I'm not going to value her for her accolades or the fact that she wants to be equal on my level. The fact that she's hyper masculine and a boss in her job. Or bitch. Like she just, I ain't gonna let you, talk to me like that or whatever it is. Or trying to rip your head off, cutting you off every chance she could get, trying to be the loudest in the room. The loudest in the room is always the weakest in the room. You don't have to walk into the room and start pumping your chest. I'm alpha, make the way. Your energy speaks prior to you. So most of these women today are loud. They're very, very loud. And that's covering up some type of insecurity or trauma. A feminist is created from trauma. A masculine woman is created from trauma. Boss babes, now it really depends on what you do. Because she could be a boss in a beauty industry. She's still embodying her femininity. But is she a boss like a detective, police officer type shit? She gotta adopt a lot of masculine traits to sustain that position. Especially she's gonna have like sergeants and whatnot, people pushing papers on the desk under her. You know what I'm saying? So she might think that she has to be these things to inspire respect. But pertaining to the opposite sex, the irony is doing the opposite. Because at the end of the day, a man's not going on a date with you caring about that you fucking traveled the world. He's not going to care about how much degrees you have. He's not going to care about how much money you make. He's going to care about how submissive you are, how feminine you are. Can I have kids with you? And if I have kids with you, do you have natural maternal instincts? So if I'm out there slaving, you could do the do at home. Do you have those characteristics? Are you peaceful? Are you calm? Do you have a vision? Because I got a lot of projects and ideas. Do you have a vision? You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you do? What else can you do besides bringing you to the table? This is what these men care about, not this stuff. So there's a big misconception that being a feminist, a masculine woman, boss babe, and a bitch is what makes you strong as a woman. It does not. It's doing the opposite. It is bringing out insecurities that you are masking. And a man who's using his brain efficiently is going to pick up on that really, really quickly. Are modern women's dating standards too high, or men are simply lazy? It's like both. It's like both. However, if I have to choose, which is like let's say it's 58%, 42%. So it's 58% modern women's dating standards are too high, and 42% men are simply lazy. So the traditional woman, she wanted like a few simple things. The traditional man wanted a few simple things. Even modern males today want a few simple things, because at the end of the day, whether they've transitioned to modern, they still diving into their nature. They're still traditional. You know what I'm saying? They still might view purity in women. It's the transition that has happened with the women. A lot of it has to do with where they are today, what they can do. Most women believe, well, if I can make money now, I don't need a man. Most women are going to say that, about like 85%. The 15% are still going to dive back into biology and be like, yeah, well, I don't know about cars. Well, yeah, I need to change my tire. Well, I don't know how to operate a crane or a forklift in a warehouse or whatnot. Oh, I don't know my way around a toolbox. I don't feel comfortable dominating a man in bed in any type of capacity. I'm indecisive. I can't even pick the simplest things like where we're going to go eat. I need a man for that. Those are the 15%. The 85% are just looking at accolades and monetary lenses and saying that, we don't need men no more. We don't need men no more. We could buy a dildo that's shaped like a male genital organ and play with that. We could fucking make our own money, pay our own bills. You know, we could call a plumber or a yard man and come mow the lawn. You know, why we need a man? Meanwhile, they're still sending men to do that stuff. Modern women's dating standards are too high, and the thing that's making their standards too high is social media, is the music, it's the stuff that CIA's pushing out there into the world, television shows, other women, feminist friends in their group, encouraging them, empowering them. This is what you should do, man, as a woman. You got this guy, you're dating this type of guy. Women always want to ask, well, what type of man is he? You know, what does he do? What does he do for a living and stuff of that nature? You know, she's getting information. Oh, you got a new man. You're dating now. You know, so eventually when you guys get into that first argument, she gonna throw her 2 cents in there. So a lot of it has to do with the encouragement, no accountability. And most women live in a fairy tale world. That's why their dating standards are too high. This has a lot to do with trauma. Well, I kind of settled for this, and now this is what I want. So they don't show up 100%. and I'm not gonna give that no more. I submitted there already. So now, even if I wear my heart on my sleeve, fuck that. I'm not doing that anymore. He doesn't deserve it. No man does until they do this, and the third. So I think modern women, because notice I put modern women and I said men. I didn't say modern men. I didn't say traditional, nothing. I said men. So that's why I'm saying like it's a small percentage of men who are lazy, because men are divine. You can differentiate between male and men. You're born with that. You ain't build that. Female and woman, you're born with that. You didn't build that. Is there a sexist gender wage gap, or women are just lazy? There's a sexist gender wage gap. It's a fact. We live in a sexist world. People don't want to admit that because they want to blanket it with other shit. They want to blanket it with other shit, but let's call a spade and be real. It's a sexist world. That's why at the end of the day, there's certain jobs that might not be women inclusive. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you going to try to avoid risk as much as possible, girl. So you're not going to want to do that. Even if you are a firefighter, you're not going in that burning building carrying somebody over your body, on your shoulders. You're not looking to do that. Men do the most dangerous jobs. Some men die on the job. Because like I said, it's risky. Some men die on the job. Feminists don't put that in their rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're doing that. They put their life on the line. So food is on the table. Their kid has sneakers, backpack, school's coming up. You know what I'm saying? They're providing for their wives, their families. Maybe it's multiple families. So yeah, they do that also to protect the woman. It could be something beyond that, like a risk for danger. Like a sports analyst, a female sports analyst and a male sports analyst. The male actually played the sport. Let's say it's basketball or football. He actually played. The woman, she got the job because she has a master's degree. She's pretty analytical. She has great discernment skills. But if the guy played the position, even if he has like a bachelor's degree or a master's degree like her, if he played the position, he's going to know way more than her. He's going to do very little studying. She's going to have to be studying all night to be able to debate with him or talk to the public about the specific sport. You know what I'm saying? It's not common. But if he was actually playing the game for such a long time, he was in the locker rooms. He was dealing with the coaches. He was dealing with the players. So he knows how the shit gonna go. He knows about contracts. He knows about the lawyers, the agents. He knows how to get there. He knows how to secure your future. He knows about the ups and downs. He knows about the actual games, etc. What does it mean to you when a woman says, I need someone to handle me? First of all, that's toxic. I believe that she says that in a way of her saying that she might be too much. She might be a lot to handle. She needs a man to hold her accountable, put her in her place. And, she's pretty much saying, I need a manly man. She's saying that subliminally. I need a manly man without maybe even shaming that guy she's saying that to. Because most women are not saying, I need someone. Well, let's put man in there. I need a man to handle me. They're not saying that to a woman unless they're talking to their girlfriend. Oh, well, damn, dating's hard today. I need a man to handle me. That's very rare. But if she's asking, like they're going on a first date, and he's like, oh, well, what type of man are you into? I always tell men, don't ask that question. But what type of man are you into? And the woman's just like, oh, I need a man to handle me. That's indirectly of her saying I need a manly man, because she's looking at all the criteria. She's looking at all the stuff that's gonna come with him for that. And it's a red flag because she's pretty much indirectly saying she's unhealed, she's too much, she's a problem. And if men are dating out there and they hear the woman saying that stuff, run. You know, I'm the type of guy, I'm gonna check you before I run. Most guys will go ghost, but I'm not a ghoster. You know, I'm gonna let you know what you did wrong so you could, work that out when you find somebody else. Because most women go into the next relationship not knowing what they did. They think they're healed. And then they meet that guy who's like a king that's like, nope, I see this, I see that. You got this bad habit, that bad habit. And the last dude was a different caliber and he didn't say anything. He wasn't a great communicator or a leader. So she probably thought she was the best girlfriend. So yeah, the woman is extremely toxic if she says that, and that's a red flag for a man that is dating her. Are there natural universal roles for men and women? For example, provide and protect, nurture, caregiver. Yeah, there is. And we do this stuff subconsciously. Like I said, the hoes could be submissive, domestically. You know what I'm saying? They might still cheat. They might not be as loyal. They might combat with you, loud, yell, maybe put their hands on you, physically abuse you, verbally abuse you, psychologically abuse you, emotionally abuse you. Purposely fighting your authority and commands and your nature, right? But she could be domestic. You know what I'm saying? I like to cater to my man. I like to do this. I still ride or die. He needs me to do something, whatever, some Bonnie and Clyde shit. I don't promote that, but I'll still do that. So naturally, yeah. Provide and protect, nurture, and caregiver. I mean, you could have a guy who's a great beta male financial provider. So he could be weak in all aspects. She runs the relationship, but he just pays all the bills. So he just diving into his provider aspect, even if he's not providing everything else. He's providing in one area. He's still providing. So those are examples. Why are we fighting nature in today's era? Everything that I mentioned earlier, social media, dating apps, people feel like they have options now. There's about billions of people in the world. Is that accurate? Is there an accurate number how many people are in the world? Or people making up stuff? There's probably 1.2 billion. But 8 billion and 6 billion. So we making up numbers. Okay. So let's make up numbers. 7 billion people in the world. A woman could say, or a man could say, there are 7 billion people in the world. Why am I trying to connect with you? Meanwhile, they think the grass is greener on the other side. It's not. Because you're not going to have the same lifestyle, same culture, same type of energy. It's not going to be traditional or modern. You didn't come from the same type of family structure. You have the different mindset. There might not be any type of spirituality in there. He probably can't converse. She probably can't converse. They're living like robots. So yeah, you could find somebody else. But now it comes down to actually getting to know them. The dating process. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't come home and you have a woman who just cooks and cleans and fucks. And that's it. She don't do anything else. She doesn't have a mind of her own. You don't even know if she's there against her will. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just moved like a robot. So you're not going to connect with everybody. So when people say that, they're not thinking in depth. That's why we are fighting our nature, because the people are actually saying that to be traditional is boring. You're actually getting shamed for trying to be in your nature. People are throwing fictitious words out there like toxic masculinity, which is an oxymoron, because masculinity is divine. It is godly. Toxic is horrid. Toxic is bad. That's why it's an oxymoron. Being too masculine or being too dominant it's abusive. It's controlling. They're throwing these words out: control, power, it's possession, territorial. No, that's toxic. That's not how you love. It's not how you love. Everybody throwing their different love languages out there and trying to make that universal, when they don't know that there's different people out there, and we all have different love languages. A lifestyle could be a love language. An activity can be a love language. A kink, a fetish could be a love language. Sapiosexual could be a love language. Demisexual could be a love language. I need you to touch my pituitary gland. I value long-term conversations. That's how you're going to get my body. The woman could be speaking. I'm attracted to intelligence. You're a pea brain, dumb as a bucket of rocks. There ain't no substance here. All you bringing is money to the table? There ain't nothing here. I make my own money. What else you got? Due to society transitioning into more of an inclusive society, we tend to be a bit more sensitive pertaining to this question. But I'm going to ask it anyways. And we used to ask it in the past. What is a man? What is a woman? A man is divine. He's godly. This goes back to the spiritual hierarchy. Man, God over man over woman, woman over children. A man is a leader. A man is a provider in any aspect, not necessarily financial. A man is a protector in any aspect, not necessarily physical. A man is a man of his word. He has integrity. He has character. He has values. He's confident, and it comes from internal. Things can make him confident. That's a bozo. You give a bozo money, he becomes a bigger bozo. It doesn't work. It doesn't change his character. That's a man. A man, if he has children or family, he spends time with them. A man has a son, teaches him about life and nature so he could continue the legacy and put him in a better position for survival for the son. That's a man. A man is comfortable being dominant, comfortable having control. He is reliant, self-reliant. He is self-disciplined. He is analytical. He is decisive. The woman, same thing, divine. Divine feminine, not a female. A real woman is dependent upon the man. A real woman knows she needs a man for survival. A woman has daughters. She teaches them how to be wives, not husbands. And I don't care if that's a single mom. They need to work on their trauma because they got resentment towards the father. Now they got resentment towards all men, and they just continuing the generational curse. So now that child doesn't even have a chance. And that child is going to be doing what the same single mom was doing. And if that mom was a hoe, that child not going to be that far behind. Because she's seeing what you doing. Even if you ain't teaching her that verbally, she's observing. And she's seeing, well, this is okay. This is where I'm learning from. A woman is going to teach her daughter what type of man to get and how to secure her future. That's what a woman's gonna do. A woman respects a man. Don't get that misconstrued as like being friendly or flirtatious or whatever. A woman respects a man or men because they know without men, they would not just be here, but they would not have a safe space in this world because of all the things that the man created. A woman is valuable. She is a queen. She's not doing peasant things. She's not giving herself access to every guy. And if you're a man and you have a woman and that's your lady, if a lot of men can get access to her, she not a woman and she not your woman. Same thing with a guy. Even if he is polyamorous, he's selective. He's not just out here serially like being a serial cheater or just having random one night stands, running around crazy, just random women. No, he's building, and he is a king. He knows that I'm not spreading myself thin, and I can't. The woman, same thing. She's not spreading herself thin. This is king and queen, man and woman. And the reality is, this is the real high valuable man and woman, because gold is rare. You can't just go out into the world and just see that shit on your doorstep. It's rare. So you got to understand that this commodity is something that not just you have to be qualified for, but not everybody will get. The man and the woman thinks this way, so they don't engage in what a lot of people today in society engage in. They don't do that. You don't see the woman's body online. Shit, I don't think we even saw Queen Elizabeth's body ever. I don't think we saw her body ever. You can't say you a queen and you have a OnlyFans and every man can see your pussy. You can't say you a king and you entertain every woman. Every woman could call you daddy. You ain't checking them. You ain't checking the women that are not yours. You just giddy with that goofy ass. Oh, they call you baby. They call you sweetheart. They call you daddy. Even if it's in comments, you ain't checking them. You just love the female energy around you, huh? Stroke to your ego, huh? You ain't checking them. Because a real man is going to hold people accountable. A real man makes people respect him. And it don't have to be he goes into the and being aggressive and you got to respect me. The way he carries himself, the way he addresses himself. He's a king. He don't think of himself as a nigga. I'm saying, I'm a real nigga. Because now people are going to address you like that. Same thing with the woman. Now, there are certain women who are self-proclaimed and there's certain men who are self-proclaimed king and queen. It ain't reality, because king and queen hold a lot of weight. And there's responsibilities there. And I see a lot of people that want titles but no responsibilities. So that's what I believe a man and a woman is. Yeah, you born with it too. You born with it too. You know, so even if you do get a sex change or whatever, you still a woman or man. Altering your shit and whatever. You got that soul still. You do that, you still need to take estrogen for the rest of your life, or testosterone for the rest of your life. You know, so my final thoughts for this: how do you get a man to provide for a woman? How do you get a woman to submit to a man? This comes down to character, how we hold ourselves prior. What is the woman doing prior to me meeting her? How is she? Because me personally, just because a woman's like, oh yeah, well, I've cooked and cleaned before. I've did this for my man. That ain't fooling me. I'll give her a chance. I'm going to date her. I'm not going to have sex right away, because I know that could make her crazy. My sex ain't regular. So I'm going to watch her. I'm going to observe. I'm going to see more. I'm going to see if her actions match her words. Because just because a woman does something for me does not mean she's submissive. I need to see how she is outside of me. I need to see her character. Does she have rage? Is she this? Is she a bitch? You know, is she just like pretending she just like this with me? You know what I'm saying? Because I know eventually she's going to turn that up on me when she's mad. Because now she's going to be looking at me as a stranger because she's operating on emotions. She's not even thinking logical. She's not even thinking that this is daddy. She's not even thinking that this is a different lifestyle. Yeah, so I'm studying all of that stuff. Just because she says she's submissive don't mean I'm going to jump aboard. I study. So it's character for men and women. It's their values. It's their morals without you. The true character of a man is when he has a lot of power. You're going to see the true character of a woman, I said this at the last masterclass, is when she has a lot of freedom. So when she has a lot of freedom, because women are more empowered to do whatever they want nowadays, especially sexual liberation, is she posting her booty online? Oh, this is just a picture. I'm not sleeping with anybody. Not opening my legs. They can't see my pussy. Is she posting her booty online? Oh, okay, that's her character. It's not somebody I want to fuck with. How does she dress when she goes out? Is she dressed modestly? Okay, that's not somebody I want to fuck with. Because she's doing that shit before I'm even implementing rules. And why would I want to implement rules for that? That's crazy. She might not remain consistent. You got to be a special type of man. A special type of man to get her to remain consistent even when she's upset. Oh, he ain't giving me attention right now. Let me open my DMs now. Let me go to social media. Let me do this, let me do that. You see? So the true character of the woman, she gonna reveal that when she has a lot of freedom. She making her OnlyFans? Shit, she says that this is the last resort. She needs fast money. What is she doing? That's a character. I can't fuck with that. Because when shit hits the fan, when there's pressure, this is what she turns to. That's not somebody you want on your team. Same thing with the man. What is he doing with submission that's granted to him? Because the woman is giving her power. What is he doing? Is he providing? Is he worrying about her safety? Is her safety, my priority? Is he leading? Is he teaching? Is he holding her accountable, or is he enabling? Because the enabler is the toxic husband or boyfriend. He's not teaching her growth whatsoever. Even if you guys don't work out, he's not teaching her growth. She gonna do that with the next dude. That's a fact. That's a fact. And it's a fucking generational curse. That's a cycle that continues to build more generational trauma. Ain't nobody breaking it. So it takes character, because a man that's going to provide for a woman is going to have her submit. And if she doesn't submit, it's because she has so much trauma that she has not healed from, and she just not going to. That man uses proper discernment and he leaves and finds what's compatible with him. Same thing with the woman. If the woman is trying to submit to the man and she knows that that's her love language, it's in her. Every time I'm in a relationship, this is what I do. This is what I do. I don't got male friends. I'm one at a time. And this is what I do. I give my all. But this guy's not showing like dominant traits. He's not showing traditional traits. I'm nervous here. My nervous system is up. I don't feel safe. She leaves. She can't really submit there 100%. It comes down to character. This is how people treat you. So the way you treat yourself, even when the cameras are off, matters. Some people don't have respect for themselves. They go home and they just drink every night because they can't sleep. They go to the club every week for specifically that. It ain't you like to dance and like music. Every time you go there, you gotta drink and you get shit-faced drunk. You don't respect yourself. The things you do behind closed doors, you don't respect yourself. Guys are fucking watching porn every day, jerking off every fucking day, hours and shit. You don't respect yourself. Women, you out there actually being a fucking closet hoe. Yeah, just because your Instagram look clean don't mean shit. You don't respect yourself. You just engaging with these guys because you want validation there. That's why you're promiscuous. Because you want validation. These guys are telling you what you want to hear, and that makes you feel good. Well, he's still fucking me, so I guess he likes me. I do this for him, and he says he likes it. I love doing it now. You want validation. You don't really respect yourself. You don't engage in certain hobbies that is conducive to your spiritual health. We need to get back into tradition. We get back in tradition, we get back to God. And when we get back to God, we get back into our spirituality. And we find out that God is in us. Divine masculine and divine feminine. You really got to look for certain YouTubes and platforms to talk about this shit that I'm talking about. Because a lot of people are not. But this is us getting back into our nature. And when we do, we will be successful in whatever endeavors or relationships we get into. We have boundaries, and having boundaries is equate to self-love. It's okay to have boundaries. This is how you get a woman to provide for you. This is how you get a man to provide for you, ladies. And this is how you get a woman to submit to you, fellas. It comes down to how you treat yourself, how you hold yourself. If you hold yourself in high regard, I'm a king. I ain't never gonna get with a woman that's gonna say nigga, nigga, nigga. You a nigga, you my nigga, my nigga. No. One time I'm gonna check her, and that's gonna be it. It ain't gonna be a second time, because she do it again, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. So I already address myself like a god, a king. I ain't gonna let nobody call me different or think of me less. I value myself, so any woman coming in here is gonna value me. People I lead are gonna value me. They gonna value me. And I don't need to always say that, because it's an entity. It's a spirit. That this divine spirit, anywhere you go, you elevate it. Even when you're in people's lives. You're like, for them, you heal them. You recharge them. But if you have the right counterpart, they refill that. So if I'm giving a woman part of my power, which is masculinity, I'm providing her my strength when she's weak. She's refilling my cup. She's not just draining me, because I'll be depleted. She's refilling my cup. Same thing with a man. When a woman is in her divine and she's meeting a man who's in his divine, they're pouring into each other. He ain't just draining, because then she gonna go back to her fucking ways. She gonna go back to her fucking ways. He's gonna drag her down. And if she was on a path to healing and healthy, she gonna go back to toxicity, because he is. And the woman ain't built to be a leader. So yeah, the woman got to use proper discernment on who she's going to submit to, because she's submitting more than the man is. So yeah, if there's 100 bozos in your town or country or whatever, you got to be single for a little bit or travel. Because maybe your soulmate ain't 5 minutes away, ain't 10 minutes away. Your soulmate might be an hour away or in another state or country. You know what I'm saying? So it comes down to character. This is how we're going to coexist with one another. Yin and yang, dominant and submissive. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you were tuned into one of the most raw, uncut, unapologetic, real, no holds barred, passionate, and intense. And, all our prayers go out to Sujey, and hope everything is good with her family and we could get her back soon. Discipline Therapy Podcast. Peace.